Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Daze and welcome to this NXT Battleground Predictions video. So there's one big question I think hanging over this show. We'll get to that in a second. I do just want to talk about the Apex because I think this venue looks so good. I've always been a fan of this venue. It's basically UFC's Performance Center. And I know there's a bit of disappointment that we're not doing or running a big arena somewhere, but I like this for a change. And even though I think we could run an arena, probably a smaller arena. I mean, I don't think we're doing 16,000 or anything like that. I know we did a good number for Stand and Deliver, but that was obviously because there was a lot of fans around for WrestleMania. This show is having to kind of stand on its own, really. I mean, don't forget, it's not this weekend, the weekend after, that WWE go to Scotland. And I got to tell you, I'm pretty disappointed they didn't run this NXT event in the UK. I think it would have been awesome if they'd have brought like NXT over to the UK and done a show over in the UK. I love NXT. I absolutely love NXT. I just went to Florida, and one of the things that I made sure that I did was to go to one of the house shows. So I went to a house show whilst I was over there, an NXT house show, loved it. I've been before, previous, a few years ago, loved it. If you get a chance to go, I would say definitely take it because you'll have a great time. But so yeah, a bit disappointed, but that means that this has to stand on its own this weekend. So it may be a struggle to do like, 12, 13, 14,000. But I don't know. Have they gone a bit too small with the UFC Apex? You're probably talking about a few hundred here, 300, 400, something like that. We might be able to get to 1,000 with like extra seating, but I'm not sure we will. I think this thing's going to feel a bit like Full Sail. It's going to feel not too dissimilar to the Performance Center. We're basically trading WWE's Performance Center for UFC's Performance Center. But as I said, I love the space. I love the room. I think it's got its own personality. I'm very excited. So I'm not down on it. I do wish it was in the UK, but I'm not down on it. I just hope it works because I think we could go here once a year and do something like at the Apex. It is also worth mentioning they did explore the idea of doing Shayna versus Lola in an actual UFC octagon, but apparently that's fallen through logistically. They just couldn't get it to work. And that makes sense, doesn't it? If you're going to have a ring in the middle, where do you put an octagon? And can you turn a ring into an octagon? Probably not easily. So yeah, it looks like that's not happening, but the streets were saying that that was something that was being looked at. So, right, there is a big question hanging over this, and the big question is, how far advanced are the talks with TNA? So, I haven't seen anyone saying that there's going to be any TNA people at this show other than Jordynne Grace. It wouldn't surprise me to see some TNA people here. Certainly, I think the executives, maybe a few other members of the roster to support Jordynne. Like, none of that's been reported yet, but I totally expect to see that. I also expect to see UFC talent because I think this is just great opportunity to show off some UFC talent and show that UFC talent is excited about having NXT kind of coming into their worlds, right? It's just good from a perception point of view. So definitely expecting lots of MMA fighters to be shown around ringside area. I do think there's a chance we get a few TNA talents, but will they get involved in the matches? Will they actually influence some of the outcomes? Will they set up some feuds? I don't know if that is going to be the focus, right? Clearly, if this goes well, and it seems to be going well, there's going to be more opportunity down the road, more crossover between NXT and TNA. But where are we with that? I really don't know. I don't know. So that's the big question, because I don't know how heavy to go with that. I don't know how much I should be predicting that. But without any reports, it does make it like we're just fumbling around in the dark, really. So that for me is the question that looms large over this show, because it really could change things. But let's just take it match by match. So obviously here, before we get to the first match, we know that Sexyy Red is going to be the host. I don't know if she's doing a song or a number. They haven't said that she is. Wouldn't surprise me if she did a little summit at the start, or maybe, you know, just before the main event. I could definitely see her doing some sort of performance. I can't really see the point in having her be the host if she's not going to do a performance, to be honest. So, yeah, but they haven't announced anything, so not sure what they've got planned for her, but she's sure to pop up with something. Otherwise, what's the point? So I'd expect something from her. Right, let's get to the first match, shall we? And these aren't in any particular order, hence why we're starting with the NXT Championship match, right? So these two obviously are both NXT talents. We know that Ethan Page signed on Tuesday. Is there a chance that we get someone from TNA interrupting? Sure. Absolutely. I think, though, that they like Ethan Page. I think the opportunity came to get him from AEW. He's signed with NXT now, and I think that there's a talent there. I mean, I don't know much about him because I don't watch TNA, and what I saw from him in AEW, I thought was so-so, to be honest. I mean, I can't really think of anything he did in AEW that really stood out to me. But then what opportunity did he get? He didn't really get any. So I can understand why he's left there, and I can understand why he's joined NXT. And, well, opportunity, if that's what you want, well, that's what you've got. Here he is. Now in a ring with Trick Williams, going for the NXT Championship. So that's quite the way to bring him in. I think that Trick retains. I don't see why we would have Trick lose to someone that's only just arrived. I know that Ethan's got a lot of buzz around him from people that have seen him elsewhere. But, yeah, I don't know. Trick's the man. I mean, Trick's the guy. Trick is so over. You can make an argument he's one of the most over superstars in all of WWE, not just NXT. All of WWE. That entrance music, the whoop, that Trick. He is over, man. I think they are all in on Trick Williams, and everything else is secondary, right? You can make your arguments about, no, we can do this, we can do that, but I think everything else is secondary to us pushing this guy to the moon. So for me, I think Trick retains. I'm sure it'll be a great match. I'm sure Ethan will do himself proud, but and I'm sure there's going to be other championship opportunities for him, but I've got Trick retaining here. Then we've got this match. This, as we said, was going to be inside the octagon, or was spoken about, but it's not going to be now. They can't make it work. So it is just going to be the ring without the ropes. I don't know if we start with this match. I don't know how quickly they can take the ropes off and then put them back on again. Probably makes sense to start with this match. This match opens. That way, all you've got to do is just add the ropes, right? I mean, you could even close the thing with this thing, you know? Could be that after the Trick match, you actually take the ropes off. And then end with this. So I think this is probably either at the start or the end, and I'd probably lean towards it being more the start, because as we said, you know, obviously you have to have all the ropes off and everything, so it's quite a bit of work. So I think that Shayna against Lola, for me personally, I would love for Shayna to win this. You could make the argument that that doesn't help Lola, but I don't see how a loss to Lola helps Shayna. And then you can say, well, it doesn't matter because it's only NXT. Well, if that's the case, why don't we have Shayna win then if it doesn't matter, it's only NXT? Like, I really like Shayna. And the build for this, she said, I'm going to bring back the Queen of Spades. You know, I think even Shayna knows that her main roster run has not lived up to expectation. You know, she was so dominant as an NXT Women's Champion. I think they see a lot in Lola Vice, and I could absolutely see Lola winning this. I really could. I think that they see a lot in her. I think they're very excited about her. You know, she's a good-looking woman, and she gets a lot of attention as a result. And she could be someone they they want to, you know, strap the rocket to and like send her to the moon. But for me, Lola is still someone that's got quite a bit of work to do. She's still someone that's not ready for the main roster. So I think a loss in a good fight against Shayna would do no damage. And it might just give Shayna that boost that she can take to the main roster. Unfortunately, I think they go Lola. I think it's as simple as Lola is the one they want to put over. They don't want Shayna to be put over. Shayna's going to go back to the main roster. Not everyone watches NXT, so, you know, it might not make much of a difference anyway. So I'm predicting they go with Lola, but for the reasons I explained, I wish they would go with Shayna on this one. But I think it'll be Lola. This brilliant. So we've got this match. This is to crown the first ever NXT Women's North American Champion. We were talking during our live stream, any of these women could win this match. Jaida Parker, Ruca, Fallon Henley, Kelani Jordynne, Lash Legend, Michin, literally any of them. I can make an argument for any of them. I think Lash Legend feels like the one they may go with because obviously she's in a relationship with Trick. She's been getting a lot of TV time as a result. I kind of look at it where it's probably a bit too soon for Jaida. Ruca could definitely get it. There's a lot of hype around her. She could absolutely get her hands on it. Fallon Henley could get her hands on it because she's been in NXT for quite a while. So she would actually really benefit by getting it. Michin, I don't know how long she's going to be around for. She might just be there to provide a bit of star power. Kelani, I'm all right with saying it's maybe a little early. I really like her. She's got a bright future, but I would say maybe Lash has been around that bit longer. I think Ruca's been around that bit longer. Fallon's been around that bit longer. So if I've got to pick, I think I'm looking at Lash or Fallon, you know? I mean, Fallon getting this title and then being able to like do promos with it. I could see that being of benefit to her. So Fallon, I'm really looking at. Lash because of the TV time, I'm really looking at as well. So I'm torn between those two. I've got it down to those two. I'm going to go with Lash. But if there's a match that I feel like no confidence in predicting, it's this one. Because as I said, they could go with absolutely any of these. Jada's getting like lots of hype, lots of attention. Kelani is maybe my personal favorite. I think she's awesome in the ring. Fallon's been around for a long time. She's great. Ruca's just come back from injury. She's been like a breakout kind of star winner. Lash is now putting it all together. Michin, you can never rule her out. So I love them all, man. I love them all. I cannot wait for that match. It's going to bang, but for the sake of picking someone, I'm going to go Lash. Right. This is a big one. So here, look, we've got Roxanne defending the NXT Women's Championship against Jordynne Grace. Does Jordynne win and take it back to TNA? And then we have to send women to go and get it, right? Or does Roxanne retain and then we still progress with the TNA relationship, but we just do it a slightly different way? You know, I genuinely don't know what they're going to do with this. I am going to say Roxanne retains, and I'm going to base it on this one simple thing. I think if you're WWE, if you're NXT, you want your wrestler to go over. It's as simple as that. You've brought in a really good challenger, an amazing challenger, maybe the best challenger you could bring in from a different company, and people so excited about Jordynne Grace. TNA Knockouts Women's Champion. She won the other day against Stevie Turner. You know, can Roxanne stand up to Jordynne Grace, who just looks like $1 billion? Yeah, I mean, if Roxanne can do it, this is going to be a big win for her. This is a win that looks real good on the resume. And I think they want to build Roxanne. I don't think they want Roxanne losing here. Of course, she could go to TNA and then win it back. But I think that you go with your wrestler in this situation. So I think Roxanne gets it. She retains. I think there could be a sign of respect between them. Maybe Roxanne slaps Jordynne after, though. Maybe that prompts a few other TNA stars that may be in the crowd to start getting a bit heated. Maybe we have to send some officials down. Maybe then we start this NXT, TNA. So the belt's not changed, but we can still get to where we need to get to. And that's we've got this tension between the two companies. We've got this group of TNA talent standing up, shouting, throwing abuse. We've got officials come down. Got maybe a few NXT women's wrestlers that had just kind of come out as well. That are just sort of, you know, they're starting to fire back, and that moment of like, oh my God, it's happening. It's kicking off, man. It's kicking off. Like, I could see that. I could see that. How do you get to that, though? There's plenty of people that are going to predict that Jordynne wins, and then we have to send people over to get the belt back. And it absolutely could go that way. But I'm going to say they go with Roxanne. Right, then we've got this tag match. So this is the Good Brothers against Axiom and Nathan Frazer. Really tricky, this. Really tricky. I don't know what we're doing with the Good Brothers. I think they need the win, really, because they've stalled on the main roster. So we've kind of brought them down to NXT. I mean, it's not a good look if you now can't win the tag titles. So I feel like they need it, but are we really going to put them over Axiom and Nathan Frazer? What are we going to do with those guys if we take the belts off those guys? So this is really difficult. And also, are we going to have like all the champs retain? I've already said Trick's going to retain. I've said that we're going to see Roxanne retain. So are we really going to have Axiom and Nathan retain? I think I'm going to go with a title change. I think I'm going to say that Axiom Nathan lose, put the belts on the Good Brothers. That's going to give them guaranteed TV time. And then I think we can do some interesting stuff with this tag division. So I'm going to go that way. But again, another one I don't feel really confident on. And then this is our last one. Our last match is Femi against Wesley against Joe Coffey. This is a triple threat for the North American Championship, and I think Femi is going to retain. We know that Wesley is a former champion. Joe Coffey is trying to get in the mix, but I just can't see them taking it off Femi. Which, again, probably just strengthens my prediction for the tag belts. Because if Oba's not dropping it, Roxanne's not dropping hers, Trick's not dropping his, surely someone's dropping one somewhere. So I'm going to go with those tag titles changing hands. So those are my thoughts. Really looking forward to this show. I do think there could be some tension with TNA. I don't think there'll be every match and all that, but I think it probably will show itself during that women's championship. Definite UFC stars there. Definite, right? And as we said, don't know if Sexyy Red's going to do like a number, but I also wondered if we might get Julia. I think this is the show that Julia may have made her presence known. I think there was talk that Heatwave is where Julia is expected, but I never worked out if that's where she was expected to debut or if that's where her first match was going to be. So I feel like Julia stood a chance at making her presence on this show, but she's picked up an injury. So I don't know where we are with that now. So I don't personally think we see Julia now at this show. And we might not have seen her at this show anyway, to be honest. But Julia is looming large. We know that she is coming. We know that she's on the way. But yeah, I think we've got this TNA situation to deal with first. So that's my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate the support as always. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.